Hey loves, how are you babies doing? I am doing good. If you don't know who I am, my name is Pinup Monroe. I do retro hauls, retro tutorials, vintage tutorials. That is the niche on the channel, so please hit like and subscribe. And please turn on the notification bell so you Vixens can get more updates when I upload more videos. Now for this long overdue awaited book haul. I am coming out with another book haul, guys. I have been reading a bunch of new books. You guys know I have like a few book hauls on this channel, so if you guys are interested in those, make sure you go and check those videos out. I have a bunch of new books. A lot of these books is from old Hollywood to old literature, just different books, new authors I didn't even know about. But Vixens, I cannot wait to show you guys these books. I hope you like these books as much as I enjoy reading them. And yeah, so I hope you like the last video as well. With all those antiques, I hope you enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed showing off those antiques. It was so much fun. So yes, let's get into this video and let's get started. The first book right here is called Scandals of Classic Hollywood. Guys, this is a good book. It has so many scandals. Guys, you guys know I love scandals, mysteries and scandals, all that stuff. It has that. It is by Annie Helene Peterson. Guys, this book is so good. It has a little bit of pictures in it. So, you know, you guys will be able to, you know, see some pictures. But it has a lot of scandals of old Hollywood in here. So, I really do enjoy it. I do like that it has the picture of Montgomery Clift and Liz Taylor. And it also has Clark Gable and Carol Lombard on the bottom. So it kind of goes this, you know, it's upside down images. And I thought it was pretty cool. I got this on eBay for like $3, guys. But it is worth every penny. I do recommend this if you guys are into just old Hollywood scandals and stuff. So yeah, this is a good book. It is called Scandals of Classic Hollywood. I think you guys will enjoy this book. Alright, Vixens, another book is called Confidential. Guys, this is by the magazine Confidential of Old Hollywood. So if you guys know that magazine of Old Hollywood is called Confidential and it has all these old Hollywood celebrities, this is the book and the biography of the magazine, how it got started and how it ended. So I highly recommend, you know, checking this book out and, you know, see for yourselves what y'all think about this. It does have some images, but very, very little. It doesn't have a lot. This book was written by, Samantha Barbas. So that is what it says in the front. And yeah, it has a lot. I read this book twice and it just talks about, you know, the magazine, how it got started, how it ended. People don't suit this magazine so much. Guys, it's like the, you know, People magazine or Insider of the 1950s and 60s. So, and the 40s. So you guys will get a lot out of this book of like old Hollywood scandals, gossip. You guys will find out a lot about celebrities in this one. Now, Vixens, this book is called Big Star Fallen Mama. Now, this is about Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Mahalia Jackson, Billie Holiday, and Aretha Franklin. Guys, this is a good book. I got this book from King's Bookstore. So if you guys are in that area where I'm at and you know of a King's Bookstore, I highly recommend you guys checking it out. That bookstore is huge. It is like 5 levels of just different, of every book you can think of old books, new books, they have it. So this one's a good one. I read this 3 times, guys. I just love the, you know, the stuff on these beautiful, iconic women. So I was really happy to, you know, read this book. And I only got this book for $7, so it was a steal to me. And yeah, it has some pictures, like, let's see, it has like some of Billie Holiday. If you turn the pages, it does have some pictures, but it is a good book, guys. Highly recommend, and I think you guys should look for this book. This book is by this book is by Hattie Jones. So you guys will get a good read out of this one. I will put all the description. I will try to find this book online and I will put it in the description box below. But you guys know I got y'all. But this is a good book and I do recommend. Alright, Vixens, this book is about Tallulah Bankhead. Guys, this book was based This the copyright book was based in, let me see, when was this copyrighted? This Tallulah by Tallulah Bankhead. Yeah, it's an autobiography by her. So she wrote this book. And this, let me see, when was this published? It was published around 1952. So this is from the 50s. And I got this for like $9 at $9.99, so $10 at an antique store. So this book is very old, and as you can tell by the cover, it's old and worn, but it is a good book, guys. I read this twice. I love this book about Tallulah Bankhead. I didn't realize she was so feisty, and she did so much in Hollywood. And oh yeah, and she was also Billie Holiday's lover. If you guys don't know about that, check out my last book haul that I did. Not my last one, but the one after that, the one before that. I talked about Billie Holiday, and Tallulah Bankhead is in it. And there's documentaries of Tallulah Bankhead and Billie Holiday as lovers. So you guys should check that out. And I highly recommend this one. This is a good, spicy read. All right, Vixen. Now, this is another old Hollywood book. This is by Marilyn Monroe. This is a new one. It's Janice. It's by Janice Anderson. And guys, I got this book off of eBay for only $2. And this book has so many images of Marilyn and just new stuff I didn't know about her. This is the front, and this is the back. And it has like a bunch of just images of just her modeling, her movies, rare pictures of her marriages, divorces, you know. And I do recommend this book if you guys are a Marilyn fan like I am. So you guys want to know more about Marilyn Monroe and just a new book about her, I do recommend this book. It is a nice little book to read. It's thick and it's filled with images. So you guys will be, you know, if you're into that, if you want to know more about Marilyn, this is a good book. All right, Vixens, the last old Hollywood book that I want to talk about is Dancing at Ciro's. I read this book twice. This is about the Club Ciro's. I recommend this book. It does have a lot of cool, you know, information about Ciro's and celebrities. So I do recommend that as well. It doesn't have no pictures in it. Well, yes, it does. It has some pictures in it, but it's very scarce, like very little pictures. So you're not going to get a lot. That's the only bummer about this book. I really feel like they should have had more pictures in it. This is how it looks in the front, and this is how it looks in the back. And this is by Sheila Weller. So you guys can check this out once I put in the description box below. But I do feel like she could have added more pictures of celebrities and inside of Ciro's. I would love to know what that looked like inside. But this is a book about Ciro's, so Dancing at Ciro's, I do recommend this one. Now, Vixen, this book is about photography. I love this book. This book is about James Van Der Zee, his photography from all the way from the 1886 to 1983. Guys, he has a few books out, and they are very rare. So if you happen to run across James Van Der Zee's books, snag them up quick because they're rare. If you're into photography in the Black Renaissance era, guys, this book is filled with pictures. It's a thick book, and it is filled with his pictures of his work. So I do recommend James Van Der Zee. I've really been trying to read a lot about Black literature, Black historical figures, and I've just been trying to read more about my Black history and just, you know, Black people in general. I just want to know more about them. So I've been collecting, and I have been looking and researching anybody that I have not found out, whatever interests me that I have not known. And I think James Van Der Zee is a really good one. You guys should really look at his work. He has, you know, a couple of books that has all his work in it. So I highly recommend James Van Der Zee. If you're into like photography and old Harlem Renaissance photography back in that time. Now, Vixens, I want us to segue into a different topic. This is more about, this book right here is called Simply Irresistible. It is more about unleashing your inner siren, your femininity, your, being feminine, how to, mesmerize men and unleash your inner siren. That's what this book is about. I do like this book. I thought it was really interesting. It has a lot of pictures in it. So, you guys can see all these pictures right here. It has a lot of pictures. So you guys will get a lot, of information out of this book. This is by Ellen T. White, so I think this is a good read as well. It has like Eva Peron, Greta Garbo, Coco Chanel, Angelina Jolie. It has like a lot of different characters in this book, and just tips you can get from them about being more feminine, unleashing your inner siren, you're being in your femininity, being in your feminine soft energy. This is a good book and a good read, so I do recommend this. And this is it's an interesting fun book to read, so I do recommend this book. And yeah, Simply Irresistible is a good book, and you guys should check this one out. Alright, Vixen, so now these are a few books that I want to show you guys. These books is about Marie Laveau. I've been very interested in reading about her. She's just been intriguing me lately, so I've been, getting books about her. This is called Voodoo in New Orleans. I do recommend this book if you just want to know who she is and what she's about. It comes with 2 books, so I got both of them. I got the Voodoo in New Orleans, and then I got the Voodoo Queen. And these are both by Robert Tallant. So these are some good books if you guys are interested. I got both of these for like $13. So these are some good reads, and I do recommend. They are very insightful about who Marie Laveau is. And it's a lot of cool things. Well, it's just some interesting things in here, so I do recommend it. And if you guys are interested in Marie Laveau and who she is and what she does and what she's done, I do recommend these books as well, because these are some good books to have in your collection. Now, this is another book about Marie Laveau. It is called Voodoo Queen and Folk Tales Along the Mississippi. It is by Raymond J. Marty. So this is a good book, guys. It's very insightful, and this was printed, I think the copyright is in, the copyright is in 1956, so this was based in the 50s. So you guys, this is a good read. It has very little pictures, but other than that, it's a good read, and I do recommend this book. So if you guys want to know more about her, this is a good book. So I will have this in the description box below. Alright, Vixens, now this is the very last book on spirituality. This is called Powers of the Orisha, Cytherea, and the Worship of the Saints. And this is just a book I was just interested in. I wanted to read a different topic. Guys, I always read old Hollywood stuff, so I wanted to try a different topic and read something different, but this is very interesting. I read this once, and this is by Magine Gonzalez Whippler. It's hard saying the first name. But yeah, this is a good book. It has it doesn't have any pictures. I'm sorry. It has no pictures in this book whatsoever. So, there's no pictures in this. But if you want to know more about the Orishas, or if you want to know more about, certain deities, then this is a good book to read. Just to have an idea of what it is. But I recommend this book if that's what you're interested in and just want to have more knowledge on. All right, Vixen, so now I want to go into poetry. And this is a book I have been eating up and deep diving in. Book is about Langston Hughes. I really love who Langston Hughes is. I watched a couple of documentaries on him, and I've read his poetry book. Guys, this is a thick book, and I'm not even done with this, but I wanted to just show you guys anyway about this book. But these are all of his poems, of Langston Hughes' poems. So I've been really into poetry, this year. And I've been writing a lot of poetry as well. And this book is from poems from all the way from the 20s all the way to the late 60s. So I really do recommend this book if you are interested in Langston Hughes and his poetry. And yeah, and I also recommend his documentaries. Look it up on YouTube. They have a couple of YouTube videos on Langston Hughes. And my son, he's reading a book on Langston Hughes, Finding Langston. So that's a book that, if you guys have any kids, that you guys can check out for your kids, for them to read. But I'm reading the Langston Hughes poetry book. And guys, this is a lot to read, but I do recommend if you guys are interested in Langston Hughes, his work and his poetry and what he represents, you know, in the Black community and in the vintage Harlem Renaissance era. All right, Vixens, so this book set, this is a poetry book set. I got this off of eBay. It is by Ogden Nash. This is called Verses. Right now, as you see, I'm still reading this one, but this is just a bunch of his poetry and his work based in the 1940s. So, you know, I didn't even know who Ogden Nash was till this year. A lot of these people that, you know, I'm reading right now, I did not know who they were, but I was very interested in it. It's by Verses. And then his next one is called Good Intentions. This is a good one if you're into like darker poetry. This is a good one. Good Intentions. And then the next one is called Many Long Years Ago. So that's this one. And it's more thicker. This all came in a set. So, you know, I was able to cop these all for like $30. So these all came in a set. And this one called The Private Dining Room. I really like this one. This has some, you know, deeper poetry that I'm really into. But yeah, this all came in a set, guys. And I do recommend Ogden Nash if you're into like older poetry and literature. But this is a good set to have. And his stuff is very cheap. His poetry is not expensive at all. So if you want to look on eBay, they have plenty of them for like $2 if you're into, you know, older poetry. Now this book is by John Keats, and this is also his poetry as well. I love John Keats. I love his poetry as well. This is very old and it has no pictures, but it's just all older poetry. So if you guys are into John Keats, this is what the side looks like in the front. And the back is very old. This was copyrighted. This is by Harold Edgar Briggs, but this is the works of John Keats. This was copyrighted in 1951. So this is an old book, and this just has, you know, the contents of it where you can find certain poetry if you're interested in that. But this has like different poetry, you know, stuff in it. But I read this whole book twice, and I love a lot of his. It's very classical, old literature that I've been reading. I've been reading a lot of classics, like old classics. So this is one of them that I do recommend if you're just into that dark, not dark, but just the classic literature, romance literature. So if you're into that, then I think you guys will like, you know, the works of Keats. Oh, and there's almost one more of Ogden Nash I forgot. This one's called The Family Reunion. This is just another one of his books. But I got this at a bookstore for only $5 because it says it right here that I paid only $5 for this. But this is just more of his poetry and his work, and this is called Family Reunion. And it just has O-N on the front. So if you guys ever see like O-N on a poetry book, most likely is Ogden Nash and his work. So yeah, this is a good book if you're into like his poetry and his work. All right, Vixen. So now that we're out of the poetry, this is more about like old, you know, because that section was more poetry. This section that I'm showing you guys is old romantic literature. So this book is by Anton Chekhov. If you guys don't know who he is, I highly recommend y'all look him up. But this is romantic literature, and just, you know, his work and his short stories. It's no pictures in these books at all, and they're very thick. And, you know, if I recommend this book because I love old literature, and I just love how people will say certain words back in this time. The copyright is in, let me see if it has a copy. It should have a copyright. Oh yeah, 1929. So this book was based in the late 20s. So, you know, you're going to hear certain words based in that era. or later. I mean, that's just when it was copyrighted, but this could have been written later than that. I don't know. But I do like the works of Anton Chekhov. I'm almost done with this book. Like, I'm at the very end of it, but I do love it. I wanted to show you guys this book because I do recommend it. And if you guys are into that older literature, this is one that you guys should really check out. All right, next book right here is called Genevieve's Lover by Eleanor Glenn. Guys, Eleanor Glenn has been writing books since like the early 1900s, like Edwardian times. I do recommend this book. This book was copyrighted, and I got this book for $6. You can tell it's very old because it has like this like paper in the front. I've never seen books that had that. You know, this is like the first book I ever seen that had this like tissue paper in the front. But this was copyrighted in 1913. I told you guys this was like early 1900s, but yeah, 1912, 1913, this book was copyrighted, but this is by Eleanor Glenn. I read this once when I was in high school, and I was like, I remember this book. I had it in high school, so I had to get it, and I read it again, guys, and it just brought back so many memories. I read this in high school, but this is a good book if you're interested in, like, you know, this type of stuff. And I love her books. Her books is really beautiful and nicely written, and I just recommend it. All right, Vixens, the next book is by Jonathan Swift, Gulliver's Travels. It's the Reinhardt edition. I recommend this book, guys, if you guys are into Reinhardt. It's Gulliver's Travels, and it's by John F. Ross and Reinhardt and Company Incorporated. So this is a good book if you're into that type of stuff. It can be kind of boring. This was a good book to me, but I'm not going to lie, guys. I was kind of bored at the first part of the book. But then the more I read it, the more it became more interesting to me. But this one kind of was boring when I first read the first part of it. You got to really clear your mind before you read books like this, because you can get very confused very easy reading Reinhardt and reading, you know, these type of literature books. But I wanted to challenge myself to see if I can read harder books and read, you know, books that's out of the norm for me. But this is a good one. I'm not even done with this book so far, but I do like it. This book is very, you know, it will make you think more, and it will make you want to learn more about different situations. So I do recommend this book if you're into Reinhardt. All right, Vixen, now this is a favorite book of mine. This is called New Voices in American Theater. It doesn't say who, let me see who it's by. This is the inside of it. And it has different stories in this book, guys, like different plays. So this is by Brooks Atkinson, and this is New Voices in American Theater. And this has like different stories in this book. It's different plays. So this is by Tennessee Williams, Arthur Miller, William Angie, George Axelrod, and Robert Anderson, and Herman Walk. And it has like different stories in this, you know, in this book. But I do recommend this. Copyright was in 1955. So this is a good book if you're into theater and you're into old plays, but you want to read the play. This is a good book if you're into that. All right, guys. Now the next playbook that I have, I read 5 times. That's how much I love it. Is the Carmen Jones Playbook by Oscar Hammerstein II, based on Mihalik and Halevi's adaptation of Prosper Merimy's Carmen. Now, this Carmen Jones book was based in the 1940s, so the words are different. There's no pictures in here. It's just a playbook. But, guys, I spent, like close to $40-something on this book because I love Carmen Jones. I love the movie. I love Dorothy Dandridge. Anything to do with her, most likely I'm going to buy it. So I had to get this book, and this is a rare one. I think the copyright was based in 1945, so this was from the 40s. So this is the, you know, copyright of it. Oh, wait, it has one picture. It has 2 pictures in this book. It has 2 pictures, so this is like one of the pictures. And yeah, this is another picture of the book. And then this has Oscar Hammerstein in the back. But this book is a really good read. I love Carmen Jones. And if you guys happen to get, stumble upon this one, read it and get it for yourself, because it is a good playbook if you're into books about, movies and plays. All right, last classic literature book that I have read in this haul. This one's called The Decameron of Giovanni Boccaccio. And is it Battocchi? This name is very hard for me to pronounce. I am not done with this book. This book has different stories in this book. So if you do decide to get this book, take your time reading this one, because this has different stories. Now, the copyright is in, let's see, 1927. That's the copyright of this book. But guys, when I looked up when this book was written in the 1600s. And I even read something that was also written in the 1300s. So this is a very, very old book. You can even tell it's old by the pages, or just how the pages look. This is a very classical book. And it's just different stories. And the words are even different. So you know how they'll say, the girl was dressed in white. It says in the book, thy woman was dressed in white. Like, it says something like that. That's how the book, that's how the literature and words is in this book. So I do recommend, if you're into books like that. But I'm not done with this, guys. I'm still reading on the second story. This book is a lot, and you gotta have a clear mind reading this one, because you would get confused very easily with this book. But I recommend this one if you are into books like that, and I love old literature. So this is a good book that I highly recommend. Okay, Vixens. Now, last but not least, these books took me 5 months to read all of them, because I got all of her stuff. Toni Morrison. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she is a phenomenal author, philanthropist. I'm getting my words mixed up. Philanthropist. Philanthropist. Guys, y'all know what I'm saying. But she is. Words can't describe how much of a beautiful person she is. I have read so many documentaries on her. I have all of her books. I have read interviews. I have looked and searched and binge watched anything I can watch on her. And guys, there's a movie called Beloved. I watched it and I cried, because it has so much trauma, of things that Black people has been through in life, like slavery and, discrimination and self-hate and generational trauma, generational abuse and toxicity. And this one book right here is called Beloved, and I do recommend this book. It is a movie. Oprah Winfrey played in the movie, and I do recommend it. This is the front and this is the back. Guys, if you guys read any of her books, make sure you take your time. Read one at a time and have a clear mind reading her books, because her books can be triggering, and it also brings awareness to just to what Black people go through in life, and just a lot of trauma and struggles, and just things that is not talked about as much. It's starting to be talked about now, but it wasn't then. And she brings it to light, and I do recommend this one. This was based in I'm not even going to tell you guys the story. Just read the book. Read the book of hers, of this one. And I'm going to just go through them. I have them all right here. This one right here is called Tar Baby. I really hope you guys read this one. This one was triggering for me, and I had to stop reading it, read it some more, stop reading it, reading it some more, because it made me really look at, how some people really just they really grow up not loving themselves, wishing they were this and that and they were really this, or being called a name and it sticks with you for the rest of your life. So I do recommend this book if you ever went through something like that, know someone that's went through that, and maybe this book brings awareness and maybe it can help them. But this is a good book if you want to read this about, one of Toni Morrison's books. And then her other book right here, this one is called Sula. This was the first one I read, and this one just is about best friends turn frenemies turn enemies. And I do recommend this book I think we've all as women had a best friend that we're no longer friends with. We grew apart. Some of them turn into frenemies, enemies, and this is a book that I do recommend. So if you're into, that type of books, then read Sula. This is a good one. And then her next book right here, this one is called Song of Solomon, and this is a book based on a man back in the 50s and 40s and just the things that black men went through back in those times. So I do recommend Song of Solomon. This is a thick book and I love her books. Guys, I read this one and I felt really bad. It really brings a lot of awareness of what our family members went through and what, people went through back in the day. And even though there's a lot of things that happened back in the day still happening now, it's just sickening how much worse it was back then. Well, to me, it's worse now. You know what, I take that back. It's all worse now. Like, it's still, everything that's still happening back then is still happening now. But this is just a good book to bring, to know about what, the black man went through back in those times. So I do recommend Song of Solomon. And then this one is called The Bluest Eye, and this one made my heart break because it's just basically wishing that you looked different than what you are. And this one, this one was really, really sad to read, but I wanted to make sure I read all of her books because after you read one, you got to read more. It's just, that's how it pulls you in. So I do recommend The Bluest Eye. And then this next book right here is called Paradise. This is a good one. I do recommend this one. I recommend all of her, so I'm going to keep saying I recommend it. But this one's a good book if you guys if you guys haven't read Paradise, read this one. This is a good one. And then also this one is called Jazz. This is a good book as well. I do like that all these books are based in different time periods and just time frames, so you guys will get a different story in each book. Nothing's the same. So I do recommend Jazz. I like this book as well, and it just brings awareness to more racial issues and stuff that we have been through, we all have been through. So I think that that's a good book. And last but not least, by Toni Morrison, this is called Love, and this one is about just having more self-love for yourself. And this book is a good read. It has a lot of different stories in this book, but it all intertwines into one. So I do recommend this book, guys, if you guys are into this one, or if you want to know more about Toni Morrison's book, this is a good one to read. I recommend all of her books. So that is it, Vixens. I hope you guys liked all of my recommendations on these books. Guys, I feel like this is like my best haul that I've ever done. I like this one. I like this haul because it's pushing me to read more different topics instead of just the old, same topics that sometimes I would just only want to read. But I feel, that these books is some good topics to, start a conversation on. So I do recommend these books, and I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And Vixens, I will see you babies again soon. Bye, dolls.